Alright, so we are to find the integer closest to 1000 times the sum from n equals 3 to 10,000 of 1 over n squared minus 4. So to solve this problem, when you see a sum and a fraction that has a denominator that's factorable, you should be thinking of doing partial fraction decomposition. So we're going to apply partial fraction decomposition to 1 over n squared minus 4. So the idea behind partial fraction decomposition is to set this 1 over n squared minus 4 to be equal to a over n minus 2 plus b over n plus 2 for some values a and b, and we're going to solve for these values. N squared minus 4 factors into n minus 2 times n plus 2 because of the difference of squares, and that's why we set those as our denominators. So now we're going to multiply everything here by n squared minus 4. So we have 1 is equal to n squared minus 4 a over n minus 2 plus n squared minus 4 b over n plus 2. And so 1 is equal to n plus 2 times a plus n minus 2 times b. And then we can use distributive property to expand. And so we have 1 is equal to a n plus 2a plus b n minus 2b. And then we can do something called matching coefficients. So this equation is always true regardless of the value of n. So we can rewrite this left-hand side as 0n plus 1. So that means that an plus bn equals to 0n, and 2a minus 2b is equal to 1. So we have an plus bn is equal to 0n, and we can factor out an n to get that a plus b is equal to 0. And then on the other hand, we have 2a minus 2b equals to 1. So 2a minus 2b is equal to 1. We can multiply the top equation by 2, so we have 2a plus 2b is equal to 0 times 2, which is 0. And then we can add these two equations together. So we have like this, and we have 4a is equal to 1, a is equal to 1 over 4. And then you can plug this in back to the original equation to get that b is equal to negative 1 over 4. Alright, so from this information, we can substitute a equals 1 over 4 into this, and b equals negative 1 over 4 into this. Now we can factor out 1 over 4 from everything to get that 1 over n squared minus 4 is equal to 1 over 4 times 1 over n minus 2 minus 1 over n plus 2. So now, using this information, let's plug this back into the original equation. Alright, so now we have 1000 times the sum from n equals 3 to 10,000 of 1 over n squared minus 4, which we've shown is equal to 1000 times the sum from n equals 3 to 10,000 of 1 over 4 times 1 over n minus 2 minus 1 over n plus 2. Now we can factor out 1 over 4 and move it over here. This is equal to 250 times the same sum from n equals 3 to 10,000 of 1 over n minus 2 minus 1 over n plus 2. Now, this is called a telescopic series where the terms cancel each other out. So let me show you what this looks like. So for n equals 3, we have 1 over n minus 2, which is 1 over 3 minus 2, which is 1 over 1, minus 1 over 3 plus 2, which is 1 over 5. Now for n equals 4, we get 1 over 2 minus 1 over 6. N equals 5, we get 1 over 3 minus 1 over 7, and then 1 over 4 minus 1 over 8. And then we have plus 1 over 5 minus 1 over 9, plus 1 over 6 minus 1 over 10, all the way on until n is 10,000. So notice that these terms cancel out because they're the same, and these terms cancel out, and it will keep on canceling each other out until we get to the end, where we will have 4 terms at the end and 4 terms at the start. Now the 4 terms at the end for n equals 10,000 will be very small, since we have 2 very small fractions. So all we have to do is consider the terms that are not crossed out. So as you can see here, 1 over 9 will eventually be crossed out, 1 over 10 will eventually be crossed out, 1 over 7 and 1 over 8 will eventually be crossed out. You can check this by testing more values of n, but we're only left with 1 over 1, 1 over 2, 1 over 3, and 1 over 4. Now again, I'd like to reiterate that the sum only goes up to 10,000, so there are actually 4 terms at the end. But the question asks us to find the integer closest to, so those numbers are too small to affect the integer closest to this value. Alright, so adding 1 over 1, 1 over 2, 1 over 3, and 1 over 4 gives us 25 over 12. So our final answer is equal to 250 times 25 over 12, which is approximately equal to 521. And that is our answer, and we are done. All right, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you next time.